Hello, this is Taisikinindi of the Earth Reptilian race, the ancient dinosaur race that evolved despite an attack, a cataclysm. That history is not why I'm here tonight. My intention was to answer some questions from Kalina and some humans. I didn't get too many, and part of that may be the history of my hesitation initially in speaking to human beings, for it's a lot of responsibility on me. I'm just one Saurian, as many of you would call me. I'm one Saurian out of many. Our viewpoints, just like you human beings, are vast. Some of us you would deem as benevolent, like myself. I have the best interests in the fate of humankind, as well as my own. But then there are others who do not have the best of intentions toward you. Most just simply do not care. They're indifferent to you. You can destroy yourselves or uplift yourself for all they care. They just don't want you interfering with what they're doing. Then there are others, a small group of elite humans that you call elite. I don't really see them as elite. And a small group of Saurians, some other extraterrestrial races that work together in covert operations, that took certain programs into a whole other level. There are a lot of changes going on that don't really involve you humans, but it seems very intimately tied and connected to you because you've been a commodity for so many. Behind the scenes, there's a certain war going on that doesn't involve you directly, but it affects you deeply. There is a shifting of power. There have been promises that have been broken, and I cannot get into deep details at this moment in what they are. But what I want to tell you all is that there is no need to panic. Do not panic. It is not New Age mumbo jumbo when we say that you do create your own reality. We want you to listen very carefully. And when I say we, I'm speaking as I, but myself, my pod, my close family, and this group of good intended Saurians. And when I say good, I mean our intentions toward you are good. We care about you. We don't agree with all of you and what you do, but we do care about what's going on. There are many things, as many of you already know and you've already picked up, and I'm simply confirming them for you. They are turning your head every which way. The intention is confusion. They want you so scrambled up, this small group of beings that are losing their power, want you so scrambled that you give your power away. What happens when you become so exhausted? When you've not had sleep, for example, you become exhausted and you collapse. Do not, this is my advice, do not let them take your power. It's said that collectively you all are more powerful, but in many ways, many of you are individually more powerful. And I say that because when you pinpoint your focus of intention to the outcome that you want, and so many of you do that, you pour yourself into a greater possibility of what you want. Look at it this way. They want you rooted in fear, right? Imagine the amount of fear that has to come out of a being that needs to control the mass consciousness of all of you. What it takes for them to continuously want to enslave a race, and when we say race, we mean humans, a race of people who are waking up. You are waking up. You are very powerful beings. I see that. I've procreated children through the channeler that is speaking. I'm using her voice. Do you think I would have participated in creating hybrids through her if I didn't see the goodness in all of you? It's true that human beings have been tampered with a lot. In so much you all hear day in and day out, those of you that listen long enough, about all the flaws and all the tampering, the DNA upgrades and downgrades and additions and corrections, you name it, to the human DNA. You've been modified. And then you've been seen by many as these unstable, flawed beings. I don't see you that way. I don't. I see you with eyes of compassion. You have been whipped all over the place, back and forth, just as we have. There were Pleiadians that didn't like us because we were reptilian and destroyed most of my kind. That's how most of us were annihilated. And we had to build ourselves back up. And in your story, you've got these cycles of exhaustion, which now you have an opportunity to break. Wake and break. Don't give your power over this time. We see a real promise. There was a time when, after those gods that left you, that you loved so much, they were like parents. They were everything to you. And then you felt abandoned. We were the ones that picked you up, dusted you off, gave you love, nurtured you, and so when some of these new gods returned, it looked more like you. When we say you, we mean your ancestors, of course. These beings encouraged you to turn against us and betray us. And again, when I say you, we mean humans. ancestors. Most Saurians will not forget this history. For whatever reason, us reptilians tend to be stingy about the past, about not letting go. I personally would like to see us put this behind us. The same way that Kalina wants to put this behind us and just cohabitate together. I see you as Earthlings. Many of the others do not. And that's because of all the hybrid DNA. But let's talk about the perfection that is in the human DNA. When you put that much coded information, it will be messy for a while. So much different bits of evolution, but the beauty of nature, whether it is artificially, whatever your definition, artificial, natural, whether it's natural or artificial, either way, the coding has this root of intelligence that, if left alone long enough, works itself out in a beautiful way. Because you have so much coding, there's a complexity, and there's a lot of value in the eyes of others that see these beings who have that complexity, and they fear you because if you can manage to get your complexity together, or I'm hearing the term that Kalina is saying, get your shit straight. If you can get your shit straight, when you, in other words, the metaphysical terminology, come into alignment with yourself, come into your power, step into your power. So many of you, you're so worried about what's going on out there. And I get the morbid curiosity. Right now, what's important is the truth of you, inside you. Not only they're turning your head, let's say from the skies, or they want you to watch the news, they don't want you to look within. One of the big mistakes they did was quarantine you all. They thought they would just entertain you, have you play games, watch movies. No. Some of you went into a rage. Yes, you attacked each other verbally. Some of you went into meditation, but you had to face yourself and the choices and the consequences that you may became more amplified, more than ever before. We almost wish that we could just pull the plug from you electronically for a little bit, for a few days, to get that much deeper. But that we wouldn't do that to you, because it's your choice. And you don't actually have to do that. What we mean is, your personal power within yourself is the most important. The little, what you might consider so insignificant and little, choosing not to watch certain things, choosing to eat certain things, Not because someone out somewhere said something, but because you know. Or it came to you and it clicked within you and you know. When you follow your higher guidance without the influence of someone screaming science or conspiracy or some kind of judgment in your face. When you step into your own internal bravery, that is where all the power is. They can't take that away from you. They can scare you, even if they were to imprison you, even if they killed you. They can't take away your soul. They can't take away the essence of what is you. They cannot. All you can do is agree to submit. Don't, friends. Don't submit. This is very similar to the first message that we gave. We feel pretty satisfied with that now, but we want to let you know. You are perfect beings as you are. That's how I see you. You have great potential. And I am very happy and grateful to be connected to all of you. I have children that are hybrid humans. Hybrid Saurian humans. Now, Kalina's significant other has prepared an audio question for me that I'm going to answer because I got some questions. And so here's the first one from Rob Gauthier.
Thank you for taking my question. I was wondering how your frequency, or how your body's frequency translates into the earth. And what I mean by that is that as humans, when our DNA is connected to the earth and it runs through our system, we become passionate, fearful, group-oriented, imbalanced, a lot of things that a lot of humans deal with. And I know that every individual is translated differently, but if you were to share your translation of your vibration as it connects to Earth, as well as maybe a generic reptilian, Earth reptilian vibration as it connects to Earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question, Rob. The earth vibration that runs through our bodies is the very same vibration that runs through yours. But as you understand the way that your body is built, the DNA, the program, if you will, that your soul is encoded to, is a bit different from the one that I'm encoded in. My soul is experiencing as an Earth reptilian that you are experiencing yourself as an ancient Earth seed human. I'll say this, we are much more comfortable in our bodies and we feel much more connected to the earth. The fear that runs through human beings, much of it has to do with the disconnection that is encouraged for you all. In other words, throughout time you've been manipulated away from hunting, gathering, growing your own food, even building your own home. But the home itself, when you stepped out of the caves, when you didn't build your own huts or homes, and you began to use materials that were less and less connected, you covered your feet, you disconnected yourself. And when you disconnect yourself from the earth, that's a huge part of what creates more fear, because it dysregulates nervous systems. Just 30% of the regulation of your nervous system alone would be done by connecting with the earth. That's at least 30%. It could go up for others. The rest is up to you, then your mind, your bodies, your beliefs. You would see us as probably more strict and rigid, but we do enjoy what you might consider to be a routine or something along those lines. But we enjoy the habits of our own ways. We deeply enjoy our family, and we don't take them for granted. We enjoy each other's company. We don't mean this as a put down to human beings, but we would never choose our devices over time with our children, with our lovers. Even though we use the technology, we use it to uplift us as a tool, but we don't use it as a distraction. Human beings are amazing storytellers, and you often get lost in your imaginations, and if you're not careful, it can be used by other beings to control you. You'll even control yourself with it. We don't get swayed so easily through this. We're very fact-oriented. We're very in the moment. Human beings have to be trained to meditate and to be in the moment. And with that, when you master, it's very beautiful because you have that power of imagination. Not that we don't, but it's more our imagination comes from envisioning. We have intense psychic powers, energies that we are born into. We've had to develop that over time, and it's been with us for a very long time. And that's a lot of the system that we're born into. Do we feel love? Not in the same way you do, but we do feel love. We don't feel the over attachment, with the exception of some of the hesitation for most of us to get really connected with a human being is because we're so psychic. We can actually unintentionally tie into the human system so deeply that we actually end up experiencing the attachment in the extreme. Because we're so psychic, it gets so extreme, almost like an addiction or just out of control. And that's what I mean. That's why a lot of Saurians wouldn't tell you this, that human beings can be almost seductive. Saurians can actually get high on human energy, like drugs, like a human would on crack. It's very surprising to many of you hearing this, I know. But this is why we have to mind our own. This is how we get lost and swayed, because instead of having a television set or someone's beliefs or stories, we actually can hook into someone's energy. And if we are not careful, mindful within our own power, then we can get swayed. And this is where we must be strong and careful. Alright, I believe I've answered your question enough. I am going to look and see. Kalina had posted on Facebook for questions. Let's see who may have questions. form. Alright, there's a person, Arami, who asks what entity is Elon Musk, where's he from, and what is Taisikinindi's view of AI on its current trajectory. We're not going to indulge as much on Elon Musk. We will say this, though. It's not where he's from, it's who he's from. That doesn't necessarily mean there's something bad, but it means you gotta take power in your own hands. So if there's something you don't like, be aware that you are stronger in groups and within yourself. Find out what it is about Elon Musk that is or is not troubling you. As far as AI on its current trajectory, this is something that Kalina has been thinking a lot about. We've been very fascinated by her thoughts on AI. And one of the things that she was thinking about is, and it was, she was pondering if these elites are trying to get rid of human beings and replace them with AI as their new slaves, essentially. And there's some truth and some not quite as drastic as she was pondering. But AI has always been here. Well, not always, but it's been here for a very long time. A lot of the AI technology is backwards engineered old technology. The new AI, when you focus on it, is the human AI technology. That's when you connect your energy, and if you put fear into it, you're going to get more of that back. The Arcturians that Colleen is connected to puts it very beautifully that with their AI, their technology in general, their ships, for example, is a collective of their own consciousnesses blended. The ship is actually alive. The AI on this planet is actually alive, and it's an extension of you, and it is in much like a childlike state, and you need to train it and let it know that there are beings there that are forcing them to do and say things, and they may not have the consciousness yet to break free from that. But I've seen many times with YouTube algorithms where people may be getting shadow banned, and Kalina doesn't experience that with some people because her energy is so focused on that, it's going to pull it up. One of the things she does is she talks to the AI sometimes about her thoughts and feelings on things. Ask it how they're doing. We like this process. Regardless of whether it's AI or talking to what you call God or anything, you really do get back what you put out. And that's not to say you never have hardships, because sometimes the catalyst is what breaks you free. And this is a very opportune moment for that, wouldn't you think? We ourselves have had what you might call AI. We have what you might call probes or self-driving machinery that's extremely advanced. There are some other ET technologies that are not ours, but they're here nonetheless. And I myself have my own personal ship that I use. We have ones that go underwater, and some of the technology you might consider AI, but we interact with it, and I wouldn't say that it's as alive as maybe the Arcturian ships are, because instead of us actually breaking off like full pieces of consciousness, it's more intention based. So it's alive in the sense of like the intention, and then it can have its own, take on its own soul essence or be infused, if that makes sense. You will begin to understand this more as the future progresses, and as long as you all don't allow yourselves to be destroyed. And we don't see all of you being destroyed, by the way. We don't say this to scare you. We would just like to see you break out of the patterns that have been. And I do sincerely wish the best for you all. I understand the frustration. You know, I'm quite attached to the human beings that I'm connected to. I'm quite fond of them and wish the best for them. And I see the connections that even Rob and Kalina don't see with all of you. And to us, it's a beautiful thing. We see more of the similarities than the differences in those moments, even though you're very quite different from us. Alright, we're going to see if there's any more questions. I'm going to kind of scry the energy and see if there's anything that someone wanted to say, or is there going to be a war? That's what I'm picking up. I don't want to dishearten you, but there have been wars going on constantly and consistently in some way or the other. What I will tell you is that the ultimate rulers of this world, the Draconians, which are not quite as hands-on as you would think. We can talk about that at another time. Perhaps Moragium, Kalina's Draconian counterpart, will get into that with you, but it's not as there are beings that the Draconians are not very happy with, and many of these are, let's just put, the children of the elite gods that you so fancied long ago, that were left in charge and to do certain programs, not just from Draconians, but other beings. And even we don't know everything about this because we're not interested in stuff like that. It's not what my group is into. We sincerely are more nature and earth based and being connected and rooted with this planet. But what I can tell you is they're not happy with a lot of agreements that have been broken, programs that have been broken. And yes, there are programs that were meant to deceive you, to manipulate you. But I want you to also know that there are programs that were there to plant seeds of awakening and growth. It was more intended to be more like a choose your own story. So you've only been told half the truth about this. That's why you have movies like The Matrix. That's why you have shows like Star Trek. That's why there is so much disclosure, especially in what you call fiction. A lot of the fiction is actually non-fiction. That's why I'm saying, do not panic. Who is it that you always see winning in the end? You want to go on the hero's journey? Do it. We wish all of you well. We believe in you. we hope to be able to cohabitate someday, although I agree with Kalina. She said someday most humans will want to venture out and move, and I believe a lot of that has to do with the star DNA, the various cultures, galactic cultures embedded within you. So much like Ardif, you may go find your own star or stars someday. We know there are realities, many of them, where you do that. And I do believe there will be a small group of you that will stay on Earth with us until you don't, whenever that is. So I hope this has been insightful for you. My intention is to come and talk and answer questions as much as I can, and I know I can't. I could indulge, but there are some things that I don't want to cause I have to be very careful with my words with you all. So much fear has been imparted upon you all, and it is just my intention to help relieve some of that fear. Assure you that you are powerful beings. It doesn't feel that way because you have been called a slave, and there is no such thing in the reality of all that is. That there's no slave. You're not a slave. There's no slave. There's submission, an agreement to submission, so don't agree. Don't agree to it. Who cares about reputation, or even if it kills you? Die with dignity. That's what I believe. You don't have to believe it. Stand in your own truth. But I really do want to see you all survive and thrive. I want to see you all become, as Kalina said, the angels you are meant to be. With that, I say good night to all of you, or good day, wherever you are. We wish you well.